Hello brothers and sisters, my name is Speranza and I'm going to be a candidate in the upcoming June 16th election for the position of Business Manager Financial Secretary of Local 353. Now, I have decided to make some videos to be able to tell you a little bit about myself and talk about a few fundamental issues that in my opinion, need to be addressed. Now, I had hoped to be able to read the few notes that I've made about some of the things I want to talk about, only about 7.5 pages. I'm going to do my best to make it seem like 6. At first I thought I'd be able to do one run, read it through like I managed to accomplish the last time I made a video, and avoid the editing because that's simply going to take too much time and it's going to look like it was edited. I've abandoned that dream and I'm probably going to be doing it in little parts. I'm suffering from a bit of allergies from whatever it is that's floating around in the air, making it hard to breathe. So you'll be seeing me gasp for air at times. But I'll try my best. I think it's important that I get this done. At least this initial video, because there's a few things I'd like to be able to talk about. And I think the only way that you can really get an insight into a person and to be able to judge whether their ideas make sense and whether they make sense and whether you really want to support them in such an important position. So I bet some of you are thinking that this approach is a little unconventional, and I must admit I agree. It is, but I feel it's very appropriate also, and a very good way for you to get some insights into what's going on in my mind, and so be able to make a more informed decision in the upcoming election. Now, I believe with today's technological capabilities, all candidates should provide the membership with a close view of themselves and to help voters make up their minds. I also understand that the issues related to union elections, and especially the job of Business Manager Financial Secretary, can be very complicated and difficult to assess simply by reading a piece of literature delivered to your house a week or two before the election. I believe there should be some personal contact and even some live broadcast candidates debates with question and answer sessions participated in by members and attended by members. I suggested this to Stephen Martin, my opponent in this election, and he told me that he didn't think it was a good idea and declined. He actually said he thought it wasn't necessary. Now, as you may or may not know, I have been an advocate of using the internet for communication about union issues and have even suggested that union meetings be made available to members by way of private internet access. Some incumbent union officers have resisted this sort of concept, and as a result, I see continued poor attendance at union meetings and a further deterioration of interest and very poor member understanding about union issues and the business of the local union. I have always believed and continue to believe that an educated membership is a strong membership, and we can't have a strong union without a strong membership. In challenging times like these, we must build strength from within. Now, it's understandable to me that fighting rush hour traffic to try to get to a union meeting across the city is a pretty good deterrent to most members after a hard day's work. We have the solution at our disposal with the internet. And I am demonstrating for you one example of how we can use technology to better communicate with each other. Now, any good trade unionist can hardly deny what I'm stating. So my question then must be, why the resistance? If you elect me business manager, I will work to break through the resistance and move us into a time when a member can truly access information about their union and actually participate in most union business by using the internet and interactive websites. So please allow me then to talk about some fundamental issues that relate to the job I want to be able to do for you. The most fundamental function of our union office is the hiring hall, and it is in place to distribute jobs fairly to members and dispatch members to contractors. I believe we can do a better job in making the system transparent and comprehensive to you. In recent years, the practice of having the out-of-work list available for viewing to members has been abandoned. And the reason given to me by business reps at the hall is that having the list available in dispatch for members viewing puts members' confidentiality at risk and makes the local union liable. Consequently, a list that contained the names of members now only contains a bunch of numbers and dates. I disagree with this practice because it takes the most important part of the local union hiring hall procedure out of the view of the members. Transparency, in my opinion, is key to accountability. I would develop a way to have the list available for members for viewing at the union hall by way of computer monitor, accessible in a secure place for members only. We have been promised for years that dispatch would be extended to the West End Training Center to make it convenient for those that live in the West End to be able to attend in person and participate in the dispatch process. We have heard many promises, but no actual implementation from past administrations about this. About 2 months ago, the newly appointed business manager, Stephen Martin, said it would be implemented, but it seems he is following in the footsteps of his predecessor, Joe Fashion, by making promises that he doesn't keep. I would begin immediately to work to establish an accessible and modern coordinated system that mirrored some of the services available at the Lawrence Avenue East facility, so that members in the west end of the city could also have the convenience of an easily accessible union office. Accountability of finances has always been one of my concerns with our local union. And in my opinion, we are not being properly informed about all the funds. And as the business manager, financial secretary, I would ensure that you would receive comprehensive and complete information well in advance of any meeting where you would be asked to attend to make a decision about contributions to union funds from your wage package. The current practice of sending out pension bulletins just prior to an important special called meeting that, in my opinion, contains vague and disjointed information is not proper information, and a disservice being done to us by our current and past elected officials and appointed trustees, including the contractor side trustees. I will immediately work with the other trustees to improve the information available to you and provide a secure access to you by way of the internet. Allow me to give a brief example of how we are being misinformed underinformed, I should say, about our funds by our current administration and trustees. In recent years, the practice of reporting the solvency of the pension plan has been modified to contain a definition referred to as going concern deficit. The actuary, Cameron Hunter, paid by our trustees, has been reporting the deficit figure, and it has been published in bulletins and quoted at meetings. I have asked questions at several meetings. What is the actual solvency deficiency of our pension plan? For the past several years, I have not received an answer till April 2011. That's this year. I had been told in the past by Joe Fashion, and I quote, "We are not concerned with that number." This time around, in April 2011, I got the answer by reading out a calculation I had done using figures from various bulletins, past and present, to compile figures to make logical conclusions without the current or full data. I detailed my calculations, and they announced the results of a $555 million solvency deficiency to the pension actuary Cameron Hunter during the special called meeting in April of this year. He said to me at the time that he, in fact, did have the figure this year, and asked me would I like him to state it. I said, "Of course, please do." He then announced the solvency deficiency for the local 353 pension plan was $570 million as of December 31st, 2010. This solvency deficiency is the actual amount that our pension fund is in deficit. We are being asked to focus on a going concern deficit figure of just short of $80 million. I believe it was 79.2 or thereabouts. When the actual figure of the solvency deficiency is $570 million. Cameron Hunter used an example of a homeowner having a mortgage and questioned whether a bank would foreclose if the homeowner kept making the payments. He answered his own question with, "Of course not. As long as you have a job," he said, "and make the payments, you will keep your house." I replied, off mic because I had been cut off. I only had 3 minutes to actually make my point, and then thankfully Cameron Hunter had to ask permission to actually give an answer because time was up and the chairman was trying to move on. That's another issue I have at special called meetings, putting people up there to make a motion to reduce the time each member has to make a point to 3 minutes for complicated financial issues is simply not enough. I replied that the homeowner is provided, to Cameron Hunter, I replied, the homeowner is provided clear information about his total debt, and that we, as pension plan members, should be kept informed about our total debt and given insights about why it is continuing to grow. Despite the graphs that indicate market investments earnings increases, and despite contributions of about $50 million each year by members' contributions. Ask yourself one question, please, or let me ask it to you. Why did the solvency deficiency actually get a lot worse despite improved market performance and record hourly contribution by members? Do you wonder why the new officials appointed because of Joe Fashion recommendations want to avoid talking about the bottom line? Are things getting worse when they should have gotten better? Why are these figures being kept from us?